Hello all. Glad to see the energetic crowd here in spite of close to lunchtime. So and very happy to be part of this event, and I thank everyone and whoever has helped me get here, and I'm very humbled and honored to be here. Today, I'm going to talk about the software-defined vehicle. So, a lot of discussion happened today on the cloud, the technologies, and software related to every area. And in the automotive, I'm going to talk about how software is ruling or defining the future of automotive industry. How software is elevating the experience in the automotive once it is in the car. Here. Is it okay? Yeah. Thank you. So, So basically, I represent a company called People Tech. We are a more than 15-year-old company with over 2,000 employees worldwide, and we have our offices worldwide in mostly in the North America, and here in Hyderabad we have our largest innovation center right in the high-tech city. We house around 1,000 people focused solely on the automotive infotainment and automotive HMI, human machine interface and user experience. So we have built experiences like I hope many of you might have heard Hummer EV, GMC Hummer EV or Cadillac car. So all these experiences, user experiences within those cars, like the dashboard, the cockpit, the digital cockpit, everything is done by this team here in Hyderabad. So we are over 1,000-member team here focused into automotive infotainment and also into multiple other areas of automotive like ADAS, like model-based development and testing and all that. So our journey started with our association with Microsoft. We started with cloud, and then we got into more areas like AWS, Oracle, and other areas. However, our automotive journey started 7 years back with GM, where General Motors in Detroit, where we helped them, set up the user experience process and bringing an idea into the car with shortest turnaround time. We help them set up a process where we build a HMI, human machine interface, the interaction that you see in the car. A artist, like a digital artist who could actually envision a concept can actually realize it on the hardware like in less than 8 weeks. So that is the thing that we brought, the process we set for GM. So from there on, we got more into UI layer, presentation layer, and got below the stack. We started supporting them with middlewares. We started doing a lot of overall product development and entire HMI. So that's how we evolved in the automotive sector. And here are some of our key clients. Like we also work very closely with Hyundai Mobis, who is right here in high-tech city. So we closely work with them, and we also work with companies like Lucid and LG and Paytech. Apart from automotive, we work with multiple other clients that you can see here. So coming to the topic of the day, evolution of SDV. Way back, 10, 15 years ago, we used to drive cars which have rather no display or probably a single alphanumeric display which showed some FM radios frequency, or probably even a non-digital display which showed some dial and things like that. And the dashboard behind the steering wheel was more like needle gauges and nothing fancy about it, and LED bulbs, not even LED, they are proper bulbs. Like that, and all the compute was totally distributed, and it is like individual microcontrollers or 16-bit controllers or 8-bit controllers used to drive that. So that was more of functional. So then we got vehicle 2.0 where we had everything started getting digitalized. We started getting smart displays, like a little bit 4.2-inch kind of clusters where you see some information in form of alerts, some information in form of indicators in the dashboard when you're driving. So that was more of, the start of, like digitalization in the automotive infotainment per se. Then we got more and more updatable apps, like we got CarPlay, projection, the displays got bigger, so obviously the applications started getting bigger and bigger. So we got the updatable displays and updatable applications. We got CarPlay, Spotify, Pandora, etc. into our cars. And even the dashboard started getting more zazzier with a lot of cool graphics and all that. Now we are on the verge of, or we just started getting into the software-defined vehicle future, where software is taking control over more and more assets within the car, where software is defining how the vehicle behaves. Software is actually, the OEMs are started pushing over-the-air updates regularly, over the new apps, new enhancements, and even OEMs are building apps that basically understand the driver, driving behavior patterns, and they give customized content and customized applications to the driver. So this is where we are evolving into the world of SDV. So what are the key trends and drivers that are paving the way for SDV? Obviously, commoditization of hardware, and as the nanometers in the silicon are getting less and less, the abundance of opportunities is becoming more and more. So if you see, when you had, nowadays all the ECUs in the car are equipped with bigger processors, powerful graphic units, which can actually present a lot of content to the end user and help them understand or help them assist during the drive and make the drive more safer and convenient, right? So now the current ECUs and the electronics inside the car are fitted with more powerful ECUs than ever. And even imagine taking a picture when you're standing still. That is one level of game. Taking the same picture when you're moving at 90 miles per hour, that's a different level of game altogether. And taking the same picture at 90 miles per hour and then processing that and then analyzing that and getting some feedback and presenting the same within few milliseconds to the end user on the go is what SDV is. So that is where we are driving into. As we speak, a lot of cars are doing the same. So we are already at the juncture of getting into the software-defined world. So that's the level of hardware support we have, and overall the ECUs are basically becoming more and more application, more and more facility-oriented. You have ECUs, safety ECUs. You have ECUs for comfort, convenience. You have ECUs coming up, consolidating for what do you call core functions, basically, something like that. So, and of course, a lot of software vendors are coming up with hardware abstraction layers. Like for example, Google has come up with Google Automotive version of their OS, the Android, which is specifically designed for automotives, and it abstracts a lot of hardware detail, and it provides a clean API for any application developer to easily develop applications. Like 10 years back, if I want to develop some code that runs on a target, it used to call for a huge setup. Like I need to get a IDE installed, debugger installed, a lot of tool chain. Now I just download Android Studio, I can build an app, boom, I push it, and it's up and running on whatever hardware I like. So more and more the ECUs and the devices are becoming more like mobiles and tablets. So that's basically enabling the ecosystem to come up with more and more ideas. It's opening up a lot of avenues for people to come and basically develop and innovate. So, and the other thing is like all the electronics architecture is getting consolidated. Like for example, till date, the primary bus in the automotive is the CAN bus. And there is now coming up more and more consolidated bus architectures which are actually helping to juggle more and more quantum of data. Like for example, if we like there is a new bus called Ethernet Audio Video Bridge, basically which is pushing all the audio video data from the infotainment head unit to the rear seat entertainment, things like that. Those kind of things are coming up. More and more compartmentalization, consolidation, and all the ECUs and which are done basically for comfort purpose, convenience purpose, safety purpose, etc., are communicating over different bus topologies to connect. And on top of this, we are getting this 5G enabling, so which is basically a very, very key driving factor for paving way for SDV, because that opens up a lot of possibilities. What can be done within a flash of a second, like 10 millisecond tactile response in an automotive is like crazy. So that those are the things that are actually driving the SDV adoption. So like if you basically see, we basically think in these blocks when we talk about an SDV. The first thing is updatability. So the software-defined vehicle, basically the the application, the product, it should be updatable. So yeah, that's and portable. So the hardware itself is becoming more and more compartmentalized and expandable with the PXI bus architectures or pluggable architectures. It is becoming more portable, more connective, more options for connectivity, and we are also loosely coupled. Basically, what that means is like today, like there is the network backing is mostly done on the cloud side, basically, and the dynamic UX. So dynamic UX in the sense like based on the need, based on the timing, based on the driver behavior, the UX needs to adapt. The UX, the overall user experience should change or transform. Like for example, in a typical family, we have a car, the person drives it or his wife drives it. His patterns or usage patterns or seat positions, etc., are different, and her seat positions and usage patterns are different. The vehicle automatically identifies that and accommodates based on the driver authentication. So these kind of things are coming up. So these are some of the stuff that gets into the SDV. So yeah, the possibilities, if we talk about the possibilities in an SDV where you have enough hardware, compute and all that, so they are endless. So if you say, for example, safety and security, like the current features that you have, like ADAS, adaptive, advanced driver assist systems, like forward collision alert or lane departure warning. These kind of things are the starting tip of the iceberg of the safety features that an automotive can offer. So there are more and more things coming up, like lane guidance, like AR-based lane guidance and all that. So those are some of the things. And services around SDV are like you can have multiple level of services where you can interconnect multiple ecosystems and probably pay from the car directly itself, like Apple Pay kind of thing, like Car Pay or something like that. And then you can integrate with multiple other ecosystems as well. So personalization, as I said, like based on the driver behaviors and driver patterns, you can personalize the user experience, personalize the overall vehicle experience. And convenience is another area where there are tons of possibilities. So with a given compute and given hardware capabilities that the vehicles are being equipped with, and the cloud infrastructure and connectivity, and especially with 5G in place, the possibilities in SDV arena are not just limited, they are just unlimited basically. It's just, left to our imagination, and what kind of problems we identify, we can quickly solve them. So yeah, I'm just giving here a typical experience in an SDV, like biometric based authentication and auto unlock. And then like when I go to my home, every day I travel from my office to home at a given time. As and when I reach my specified place near the home, my garage automatically opens up, and then it integrates into my home automation system, where once I'm near the home, the room temperatures and water temperature is set as per my custom requirements. And then probably, once I get back into the car, or like when I'm traveling, so it'll open up my mailbox, and on my way back to office, it'll find out, read my emails. It'll make the environment convenient for me to take any calls. Now with like driverless and autonomous vehicles coming up, and steps taken into autonomous arena, where already in countries like the US, where we have proper road infra, like we are already supporting autonomous vehicles where people are driving hands-free. So like even in India, we have, yesterday I was reading an article in newspaper where people left the car in autonomous mode and they were playing something in the car. So things like that will happen. So like we can support, the SDV enables the way. Till now the traditional thing is to avoid driver distraction. But probably with SDV, it may make like driver engagement more than driver distraction. It will become like more of a driver engagement scenario. So that's how it's gonna be. Yeah, I mean, I'm just listing down some of the endless benefits of SDV, where for automakers, they just deploy one platform and use it more and more. Like typically, it used to be like the platform churn used to be run every 3 years, but with SDV, once you place a hardware in the car, you can update it and you can make it run for more years, which will obviously reduce a lot of cost. And yeah, and to the end users, it will give a lot of flexibility in terms of choosing what they need in their car, adapting their car to their requirement and all that. So yeah, and key challenges for SDV roadblocks, probably I could say, are the security is the primary thing, and then talent. The SDV is limited by the number of applications that it can run. So basically, the ideation, the number of problems that a given team can solve, or the number of new innovative ideas that team can come up, or the talent that we can bring in, that is the primary challenge. Because any ecosystem without proper application is for no use. So like the same way, like team talent is what we would, one of the roadblock could be. And then some more challenges that I've listed there. So yeah, and here are some of the services like for SDV that People Tech offers, like in terms of compute, cloud, and after sales and sales management, etc. So with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions or anything? Yeah, sure.
Hi, great presentation.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you. Just combining two of your slides, earlier you talked about the zonal distributed architecture and how it's the zonal control systems. And in a later slide I saw you had mentioned you foresee a future where OEMs are preferring to work directly with tier 2, in the future. So combining these two things, do you see any shift in the trends around who owns the ECU architecture design, because sometimes, as you know, in our automotive industry, it can often be the black box, right? So over dependence on the tier one.
It's typically called silver box.
So, yeah, okay. So, but the idea is that the OEM sometimes, if they're dependent on the tier one, they don't have access to change the algorithms to implement the software. It's very important to be agile and not having a roadblock in the middle. Okay, so so combining these two things, can you shed some light on what trend you're seeing in terms of the who you think will own the ECU component? Like, will it be the OEM's designs or the tier twos will effectively become tier ones? I'm just trying to understand that part about how OEMs will work directly with tier twos and the zonal architecture.
Yeah. So not just the zonal architecture, overall, in my experience, how it works is basically like the entire architecture and including till the chip selection is done by the OEM, and tier ones merely actually they replicate it and get it into production. That's how it has been. So I think it will continue the same way. Basically, the OEMs will always own the specification, and the tier ones or tier twos, they will actually manufacture it as per the specification. That's how it will be. So overall spec is done by the OEM, and even in the distributed architecture, what happens is the electrical architecture is very specific to a particular OEM, right? Like GM follows a certain way, Mahindra follows a certain way, or even though they use the same CAN bus and same pinouts, the protocol is entirely different from OEM to OEM. They have their own data catalog, GM has their own, or Ford has its own. So only a limited set of parameters are given out. So given this, what happens is usually even the architecture electrically, the distributed architecture, the individual pieces are owned by OEM, but the spec is owned by OEM, but the overall design and manufacturing and this is done by the tier ones. So that's what I think. Yeah.
Sir, hello, sir. Here.
Yeah.
Just a simple question. So you just made a reference that SDVs, I mean self-drive vehicles, has that.
SDV is not self-driving vehicle.
I mean I'm talking about self-driving vehicle. Yeah. That the infrastructure in US permits that application. Why can't we have SDVs that are developed more India-centric? For example, Bangalore had a company, an EV company, which tracked the potholes in the road, and then it gives an automatic warning whenever you drive it.
Yes.
Yes. Do we have more India-centric applications that our entrepreneurs and startups could come up with? Can you suggest some?
Yes, definitely. That is a wonderful, point, because in other countries where the traffic is more organized, coming up with solutions and concepts is straightforward. But in conditions like India, where it is more chaotic, coming up with the possibilities is it's slightly challenging. And I'm definitely, as I know, like in my experience, there are companies that are focused right now in addressing those problems. Like for example, some of our associates are working on a project in India itself to identify the potholes on the road, and then catalog that data and do some AI on that. So as we speak, work is going on in those areas. So like large companies like Kia are definitely doing that. Yeah. Any other? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all. Bye.